What's up, everybody? Grant Wise here, jumping on with becoming one of my new favorite students. This guy is a newer agent in the business, making some big moves out there in the Atlanta market. And I'm really excited to talk to you, Mr. Mark McMinn today. I got it right. I figured I was going to stumble over that name, but I got it right, man. Thanks for jumping on and chat with me.
Dude, honored, man. Honored. Been listening, following for, what seems like years. Learning in different spaces, and so, man, blessed to be on the call with you.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? How long you been in the business? Why'd you decide to get into real estate?
Yeah, man. So I could sit and spend weeks talking through this story, but let's make it quick. So before this, I was a pastor. Spent about 10, 12 years in that space. Come from a family of pastors, and so it was like this natural, this is what you go do as a McMinn. And I learned through the course of a lot of self-evaluation, a lot of awareness, a lot of coaching that I'm good at this, but it's probably not the best version of me. And so began exploring that process, had a coach who took me through a Strength Finders curriculum. And in that discovered all of my gifting lies in strategic buckets. And the one thing that I really get after when it comes to the people side of things is, man, I'm just ultra competitive. And to be competitive, you have to have numbers. You have to keep a score. And my previous career, I mean, if we're just shooting straight, like all you can do is count people and look down the road and say, hey, we're bigger and better than you. And that's ultra unhealthy. And so kind of with a smack in the face, you know what? I got to acknowledge that maybe the best version of me is somewhere else. And so went through a long process of weaning through that, wrestling through that, inviting people to speak into my situation, and ultimately knew that the longing, man, when I wake up and what gets my heart pumping is truly the opportunity to help people wrestle through what are often, some of the hardest moments of their lives. And that was a big part of my previous career, but I knew real estate was that too. The last agent that I had that helped us purchase our previous home, in that within our second week, we had seen 11 houses. And he looked at my wife and I and said, well, we got to find a house soon because I got to get paid. And I looked at him like, bro, you just told me this is about you and not about me at all. The house we ended up purchasing was like 11 years old. And he said, it's only 11 years. Like, you don't need an inspection on that. And you don't have to worry about all that stuff. Let's just go ahead and move on down the road. And so for me, it kept bringing me back to this place of if this is indicative of the experience people are having out there, oh my goodness, like they deserve so much better for what is a massively important thing in their life.
Yeah.
And so that allowed me to look at and say, I have this huge sphere of influence that exists. I'm born and raised here. People know my family. I've had the opportunity to interact and serve a lot of families. And so it was this natural way for me to continue to support those relationships in a way which would let me take my competency in this arena and move it into their lives. And so that's kind of how I took the step into this. And man, I've loved it. I've been doing it about 18 months. If everything closes like it should for this calendar year, I'll be at 60 for the year here in Atlanta and then next year in the Greenville area. So yeah, dude, been killing it. Working super hard. It's just me, like no team members yet, no admins running around, although we're trying to get all that in place. Yeah, man, just me hustling.
Dude, that is so awesome. All right. So let's talk a little bit, like when you first got started, there's always this maybe lack of clarity, this uncertainty about, okay, I'm here. How do I get this thing rolling down the court here? What was that process for you for going out there, trying to drum up relationships, trying to drum up business? How did you kind of start in the business?
Great question. Because we all do. I mean, we all hit that moment of like crisis internally of, okay, I got my license and I got it hung somewhere. Now, what am I doing? And for me, I've always been a learner. I mean, massive value for books, for podcasts and all this. And one of those podcasts that I still listen to this day, I don't miss an episode, is Pat Hyben's podcast, Real Estate Rockstar. If you're a podcast guy, gal, you need to be listening to that. And there's 7, 8 others. Feel free to contact me if you want to list the ones that I'm in on. But that one initially, I kept hearing like Facebook. And I'm a younger guy. I'm 32. I've been on social for a long time, going back to, college, but had never thought through the lens of this is a vehicle that outside of me just personally posting on my page has the capacity to not only multiply my business, but expand it exponentially. And that was when I first interacted with you. And so I remember pulling out my little moleskin binder. I mean, I'm like slinging stuff on paper as fast as I can write. And then it was hopping on Google, hopping on everywhere and Grant Wise, blah, 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 okay, VA stuff and Red Rooster, like all of this just moleskins with everything you're saying. I was like, dude, I don't have a dime to my stinking name right now. I'm going to do this, but in the meantime, I'm figuring this crap out as much as possible before.
There you go.
And so literally was dude just living in everything that you and a few others were saying on this arena. And dude, taking a swing for every dime that I was worth. And I'll tell you flat out, a guy who has, again, frankly, a large sphere of influence. My first 7 deals, people I had never met before in my life, every single one of them came through social. Every single one of them was like super straightforward. Hey, I've never done this before. I was probably the worst sales pitch on the planet. I'm brand new, but dude, I'm ready to hustle and do this for you. And man, they were all so impressed with not only like, hey, this guy found me on social media and he's hustling to get me on the phone within a 5-minute window and blah, blah, blah. They were impressed because, as you and I know, man, the stat is like 67% of people, their first interaction in the home buying process is online. And that's how I met them. And so for these people, it spoke to, this guy may not have reps in opening a lockbox, but he gets the value of this system and right. He understands how to play this game in this arena, and he's going to go win for me. And so, that's kind of how I got into this and got my feet wet and got the snowball down the hill.
That's awesome. So I was going to ask you how you kind of came about us and the understanding of Facebook advertising, and that kind of explains that. So, there came a point where you took that leap of faith where you're like, well, maybe I'm gonna join Grant's program and I'm gonna implement what he's teaching. So why don't you walk me through that? What was your biggest fear about joining our program, and what were some of your results?
Yeah, dude, phenomenal question. And the fear, this is such an easy one, and it's so sad, frankly, looking back on it. The fear was, I know this costs money, and in my head, it costed way more than the return I thought that I was going to get as a result. Like flat out, cards on the table. And so I didn't even make the phone call. Like I didn't even make the phone call to set up an appointment and say like, hey, this is me. I'm a huge believer. I just said no because I assumed,
Yep.
So it was the frankly a super poor choice that stalled me out for way too long. And so that was the front end no, but like the linchpin that led me to a place of saying yes was, again, I'm over here hustling, working super hard to go get business, and was seeing a lot of results from social. And finally, man, I was listening to another podcast where I was hearing you, and then I'm a guy, I listen to Gary Vee all the time, and Gary's like piping in, if you literally can't spend enough money on this. You could spend 20 grand in this month and it would not be enough because it's such an underpriced, massive performing platform. And so finally I was just like, dude, this is so foolish. I'm over here slinging moleskins, trying to figure this out, writing ad copy and what do I need to put in a filter here? And this is such a waste of time when I could be taking this time, which our time is money. So I'm over here taking this little job, trying to figure this out, this aspect of my job, making, we'll call it $10 an hour, when I could be employing you guys working your systems and then make $100 an hour. Right. So what am I doing right now? And so finally that was I'm making the phone call. Like truly, as long as this doesn't cost something in like the 6-figure arena, I'm figuring this out because it produce massive money for my family. And really, really quick, man, my little tidbit, the linchpin for me in success, if you were like boil me down and say, Mark, why have you gotten the results you have? There's a lot of things underneath that, but the really, really big one is, for me, success is an ethical dilemma. It's not something that I hope for. It's I owe this to the people I love. And so ultimately, dude, like this conversation of Facebook and social and all that, it was not something only of I believe in this, but I did. It was I owe this to my family, my kids and their kids, for me to make this phone call and figure this out. And not only figuring out how am I going to do this, but how can I not do this?
Yeah.
Like, literally, how can I not do this for the people that I love and what it would mean, not only for them, but for my clients and those people I'm going to eventually hire. And so, yeah, that's how I jumped into it. That was the kind of linchpin, that decision moment for me. So
that's awesome. So what have your results been? It sounds like a lot went into that decision. What are your results? Has it been worth it? Do you wish you would have done it sooner? What's that look like?
Kidding me? I wish I. Those moments where you start seeing it, man, and it's literally like
start kicking yourself
and like pumped up at the same time. It's like, dude, you're so dumb, but you're so brilliant, but you're so dumb. Yeah, man. So I got numbers pulled up now. Over the past month alone, I've spent $1,800 and some change in Facebook ads, and I currently have out of that are current listings set to close within the next, let's call it 60 days. It is going to be around 7 million that closes out of that. I have a listing, yeah, man. I have a listing that is in my market. This is a lot. It's 1.6, and that came out of a Facebook. That truly came out of a Facebook lead. I have one right now where I'm heading out there this weekend, where it is 20 acres, and she literally came through a home valuation funnel that was a retarget, and that property is 2.3 all day long, and it will move all day long. You know, and so I never, like, dude, an agent with a year and change in this industry has no business getting that phone call and getting that lead uncompetitively. Like, could I have paid Zillow for that? Maybe. Me and 900 other agents are now hawking. And I am not in that conversation.
Right.
Like, I'm good at marketing. My stuff looks slick. But when we get to numbers, there are people who are going to beat me out.
Right.
But guess what? I now have that one lead to myself. And she has told me I am 6 months out from listing, and I would love to have a conversation. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
So you're telling me you spent $1,800 in the last 30 days. That's turned into already contracted $7 million in business that will close in the next 60 days.
No doubt.
$200,000+ in revenue in 30 days.
All day long. All day long. All day long, man.
That is absurd.
And, dude, like, let me say this, and I hope people hear it, because in our industry, it's so easy to only see the front end. Not only is that revenue there, dude, it is going to produce massive ROI down the road, because we have to take that relationship and crush it. And dude, people know people, and they talk. And they talk specifically in that like 60-day window when they're doing a transaction.
Absolutely.
And right after it close. And dude, I have many clients now and in the future who came out of that. I closed one where it was both sides of the transaction here locally. It was her first home. We're selling it, and then we're buying her next one. Well, guess who she called? Her two friends who saw that on social. And then they said, hey, who's your guy? Like, the drone footage looks awesome. And I saw that video that he shot. Well, guess what? That's 4 more transactions out of one ad where the cost per click is like 7 cents. You kidding me?
Incredible.
Right now. And so that's where I look at this, and I'm like, man, I internally have these moments of like, oh, how much did I leave on the table? But we're still so far ahead of the game.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
The World Series where we know we're on the winning team. And so yeah, man, that's me.
That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts.
Legitimately, it truly is.
So I know this is always a loaded question, but knowing what you know now, having gone through all the emotions, all the ups, all the downs to make the decision to actually join the program, and I don't know how much you've done, like, since the lifetime you've been with us, but 30 days, 7 million in production from $18 in ad spend, that's sick.
Yep.
What would you tell somebody that was thinking about joining the program? Hey, should they use Facebook ads? Should they use our training, or should they not?
I would say a few things. I would speak to my experience, because I know that's a lot of people's. Does this cost money? Absolutely. It costs money in multiple ways, though. Kill that. It costs money in multiple ways. I think of someone who is dealing with weight loss is an easy way to say this. Either you can deal with the pain of going to the gym and losing weight and being healthy, or you can deal with the pain of living an unhealthy lifestyle and having a very poor back end of your life. That's how this conversation is for me. Of, can I make an investment now that will change my life and my family's life? Does it cost money? You're dang right it does. Like, should it? Absolutely, all day long, because it's exceptionally quality. Or you can choose not to, and you can feel the pain of that for the rest of your career. Because Facebook is not always going to have this ROI, man. There will be a day where it begins to shift.
That's absolutely correct. Yes.
Right now, it's brilliant. And so, dude, it would be crazy to let what feels like a massive, massive giant of a cost, when in actuality is massively small. I mean, dude, I paid for this within half of my first transaction that I resulted in. That's real numbers. Like, I literally paid for my entry fee. That was half of my first commission check that resulted in.
Give me just an estimation. You don't have to give me an exact number, but how many deals do you think you've closed from our program?
It's over half, flat out. It's definitely over half. It's
over half your business?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. This year I'll close right at 60, and it's going to be 36 or 37 resulted specifically from this training, this coaching. No question.
That's just exceptional, dude. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you jumping on here and sharing some of your story. I've been seeing you around. You're doing some big stuff. Like I said, you're making some big moves, and I definitely pray you continue to over-invest in what you've got going on right now, because it seems like it's changing y'all's lives, and that's just awesome to be able to sit back and see. So thanks again for jumping on and sharing some of your stuff, man. You got a lot of energy. You're a great salesperson. I can definitely get that just from having a conversation with you, but there's nothing to sell here, right? These results are real. This is just what's happening. So
numbers, man, like, it's real. There's no curveball. There's no side pitch.
Yeah.
Either you want to do better or you don't. I mean, it boils down to that. So
I'll end it with that. Either you want to do better or you don't. If you're watching this right now and you're trying to decide if making the next move and learning Facebook ads in your business is the right move, I think it's time that you get started. So Mark, sorry, I appreciate you so much. McMinn, I got to say that right a second time, because I probably not gonna be able to say it right a third. Thanks so much, man. Just keep killing it. We appreciate you so much. And I'm gonna look you up when I'm in Atlanta next year, in the next few months.
Break bread. Blessings, man.
We'll see you. You too.
Thank you.
Thanks.